Hello everyone, and welcome to Straight Chilling. Each week we watch and review a horror film for your entertainment. You can send all questions and comments to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com, and don't forget to keep chilling.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing. 5 cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star ratings from the floor to the ceiling. If you get your 1 star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ, all the 1s and 2s. By the name Elzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all with 2. And prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? Welcome to another underwhelming episode of Straight Chilling. My name's Bob, and I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 232, recorded on Monday, September 16th, 2019. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a little movie called Curse of the Screaming Dead, also known as Curse of the Cannibal Confederates, as was chosen by our lovely Patreon supporter, Michael. Thanks, Michael.
You finally decided to be honest about our underwhelming nature, I see.
I was more referencing the movie we're about to review than the show.
Sure.
We'll get into all of that. Before we get into it, though, let me introduce everyone else on the show tonight. First up, calling in from just outside Chicago, Randy Gandy G. Landy.
Howdy. How you doing?
I am well. How are you, sir? You look rested.
I'm all right. Do I?
Yeah.
That's a mistake on your part.
Oh, okay.
That's an error in reading on your part.
You just look good.
Oh, okay. This is turning into a sex crime real quick.
I'm hitting on you, baby. Last but not least, calling in from Southern Korea, we got our boy Soju. What's up, Soju?
What up? It's your boy Soju. Soul Juice, a.k.a. Soul Juice.
Soul Juice.
The
Stains.
Soul Juice.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm bringing the soul today. Yeah.
Today in every show, Justin brings the soul, baby. He's the soul of the show. Sweet, sweet baby Jane. Let's talk a little bit of housekeeping real quick here, gentlemen's. So we got our October poll pick posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about next month.
Whoa, Bob, how those numbers looking?
Holla. Well, so the theme for next month is classic slashers. The movies you can vote on are the original Friday the 13th, original Nightmare on Elm Street, original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Right now, an interesting turn of events.
The OG squad.
Interesting turn of events. We got a dead heat, which tends to happen more often than you would think, between Nightmare and Chainsaw. So we need a tiebreaker. Yeah. Last I looked, Friday the 13th has no votes whatsoever.
The 13th, man. I guess maybe because there's no Jason in it, technically. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But also, summer's like dying off. It's spooky season, baby. Come on.
Spooky goddamn season.
Spooky.
Which I guess like Chainsaw.
I mean, Chainsaw's kind of summer too. Like Nightmare's kind of every day.
Non-season specific, really, I guess.
Yeah.
So get your votes in, people. You got a couple weeks left to vote, and we definitely need a tiebreaker. So we'll see. We'll see how that ends. Also, we have some glorious news this week. We have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 brand new Patreon supporters. Not 10 either.
Not 30.
There's a lot of numbers.
Not 30.
I'm going to dance around all the numbers that are not the actual numbers.
There's a lot of numbers. We might be here a while.
By deduction, we'll eventually land on it. Or will we?
So we got 4 brand new Patreon supporters this week. Big thanks to Thomas D, Cardinal Cadre, Allison T, and if you can believe it or not, we got old sibling Stains himself here.
Whoa.
Justin's little brother, Austin.
Bro Stains.
Stains.
Thanksgiving's going to be real weird this year.
Oh, man.
The Stains is in the blood, boy.
Who's the cooter of the family, Juice? We got to know. I'm a Patreon. I have the right to know.
Oh, we know.
Do we? You might. I don't know that we do.
I feel like I'm looking at one right now. But,
this is on the record, too.
But yeah, thanks.
Oh, Randy,
Randy, you're gone.
Randy froze for a second.
I was just saying thank you to our new patrons.
Yeah, big thanks.
Well, the universe didn't want that.
Apparently didn't want it to happen. But as always, every time we get a new Patreon supporter, we got to give you the old straight chilling salute. This one goes out to
YouTube
all
exclusive.
Of you.
Slap my ass!
Oh, yeah, one.
Slap me in the ass!
2.
Hold on! Slap me in the ass!
3.
Slap me in the ass!
4, baby.
We're so many, we get a double fisted.
Got so many salute methods. Got so many asses to
I
smack.
know. A lot of ass slapping this week. Whew, sweet, sweet Lord.
Thank you, everyone who has signed up with us. I
Absolutely.
appreciate that a lot.
Thank you, guys. Justin, YouTube or Twitch news? What you got?
Yeah. Let's start with the poster giveaway. Last week, we covered a new movie, It Chapter 2. When they come out in Korea, I'm able to get some posters, and we do a poster giveaway. So we had a lot of participants this time. I think there was maybe around 12 people. All you had to do is give a like and a comment on our behind-the-scenes video from us reviewing It Chapter 2. I picked one name. I put it into my sweet little wheel picker thing and spin it around.
And how sweet your little wheel is.
Sweetest little wheel in all the land.
Yeah, and you had a 1 in 12 shot of winning, and this week's winner is Aaron Shea.
Aaron!
Nice.
Shea. So, Aaron, you win the poster giveaway for It Chapter 2. Just send your mailing information to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com. I will ship that off this week, and you should get it. It takes a little while to get from Korea. Maybe 3 or 4 weeks, actually. I think it takes a while. But you'll get it soon. Thank you all for participating. The likes and the comments really help people find us on YouTube. So hope you enjoy your poster, Aaron Shea. Hit me up with that mailing address as well as your social security. Any kind
Justin's made this request of me before, and I just wound up with a stack of dudes.
Blood sample.
all credit card information.
A stack of nudes. Just
Oh yeah, he's analog, baby. He sends them brings out magazines.
Analog stains.
It's all just regular like school pictures of juice with like other men's bodies around it.
Damn.
From Playgirl.
DJ Anal Docs himself.
Hashtag.
Hashtag DJ Anal Docs.
Oh Lord. We're losing track immediately today.
Yep.
Twitch. We are still playing through Dead by Daylight. Bob, you played with us last week.
I did indeed. Yeah.
I think you killed us all.
I did. I killed all of you. Each and every one of you.
Good job, Bob.
Boy, this
Dead
sounds
by
like
Daylight,
fun.
It's a lot harder. So this one, you got you got a bunch of different killers, and the people have to try to escape. But it feels like it's a little harder than Friday the 13th. As a survivor.
Yeah, it is pretty difficult to escape, actually. I think Priscilla escaped. She's the only one that made it out. Everybody else
She did, yeah.
unsuccessful.
She got through the hatch, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to play that again. Let's see. Oh, we're on a weird night because we're recording on Monday night. So we'll just play the next night, Tuesday night. You can tune in live at twitch.tv/straight-chilling-podcast if you want to watch us play through some spooky video games. Also, I got a new video game review dropping this week. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, please hit us up there. It's youtube.com/straight-chilling-podcast. And this one will be for Layers of Fear, the game we covered in June. Randy, you played through Layers of Fear, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I enjoyed the hell out of that game.
How many
I guess I'm like
layers are there?
I mean,
Dude,
it's a multi-layer approach.
Okay. I like
The
it.
triple layer cake of fear.
Yeah, it was a fun game though. So got that dropping this week on the YouTubes, and I think that's all the housekeeping I got.
Dropping it like it's hot. Cool.
It's so hot, baby.
So hot. Well, gentlemen, let's talk about what we've been watching this week.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Randy, what you been watching?
What I've been watching? Let's see. I did actually manage to squeeze in a few movies this week. A couple movies. I got that new Tigers Are Not Afraid film that's on Shudder, which has been just steeped in accolades, and it's quite good. It's quite good. I would recommend that. You guys have obviously heard about that. The other one I watched was also pretty new. It was The Golem. Have either of you guys seen that one? The Golem that just came out this year?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that one pretty good
too.
Like
last year, didn't you, Bob?
January.
Or maybe it was a year.
Came out January.
Oh, January. Okay, it feels like it's been a while. I remember you talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rob, you kind of weren't so sold on it, or you didn't love it as much. I ended up kind of liking it. like it sounds like a lot better than you did.
Yeah,
and
probably.
It seems like it's like a little paint by numbers at first, but then when I kind of expect the paint by number to end, it just kept going, and it did something kind of interesting that I thought was pretty exciting. Anyway, it kept me interested and intrigued. I was into it, so I recommend both of those. I've also just watched a lot of fucking YouTube while I work, as always. One thing I watched, which I had to because I don't get to go to Halloween Horror Nights when I'm just outside of Chicago, which means I was watching. Which I didn't know this was allowed, but just straightforward walkthroughs, all the haunted houses of Halloween Horror Nights. You can just go and watch people. Like, apparently, it looks like it's more common for people not to have their phones out while they're walking through, and then they all just upload to YouTube. I watched this one guy in particular who does a lot of like theme park stuff called Justin Scared. I don't know if it's how it's pronounced right. And he's a funny dude. He sounds a lot like SpongeBob SquarePants. It's really kind of weird, but yeah, watching him go through that stuff, he gets a lot of the detail in there, and it looks great. Like the sets and everything look great. I'm kind of sad that I won't get to go, which is rare for me. I kind of just was kind of always apathetic towards it. Not always, but like typically I was just like, I never went out of my way to go see it except for a couple times. But this year I had a real Jones, and that video didn't really satiate me. I kind of want to get down there.
Bummer.
Yeah. Fucking Ghostbusters. They got fucking Wolfman and Frankenstein. I think that's in Hollywood. He was in Hollywood. But the Killer Clowns fucking walk through, that was really cool. Like it wasn't as scary as I don't think I would have gotten very, very scared in that one, but it was so cool to see that movie adapted into a haunted house.
It's so nuts that people are able to get through all those damn houses. We were only able to get through like 3 or 4.
We never bought the fast pass though. I think that helps.
That's because we were in college and we had bills. Broken in half. Yeah, the
now
fact
we're
that we got
rich.
there on fumes. Yeah, we're rich on that Patreon money.
Just bathing in it.
We got enough money to blow on jet skis and Blu-rays.
Yep, and Halloween Horror
Halloween Horror Nights fast passes.
Skip to the front of the line.
I'm in my 30s. Give me a goddamn fast pass.
I don't have much time left. I can't wait in this long ass line. Get me to the front.
So yeah, that was pretty much it for me.
Sweet. Juice, what you been watching?
This week I watched The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I had never seen it before, and I threw it on kind of late at night. I was working on some stuff and ended up like dropping whatever I was working on and watching the whole film up until like 1 a.m. because I think I didn't start it until like 11 or something. And so, yeah, I was like just kind of surprised by it. And like as it progressed, I just kind of like fell into it. And so I was like, man, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good movie. Really intriguing, well done. So I liked it. Different kind of horror. It felt a little refreshing, I guess. It was just like a cool little take or whatever. But what else? I've been trying to get through Gerald's Game, man. It's I know Bob praises it a lot. I don't know if Randy's seen it or not, but
no, I have not.
I like it.
It's not that it's bad and that I don't like it. It's just that like it feels like a slog. Like I can only watch it for like 15 minutes at a time. It just like can't hold my interest. So, but I keep coming back to like, I feel like I want to finish it at this point. I don't know. I might have like 45 minutes left, but I've been trying to get through it, but I don't think I'm going to love it as much as Bob does. I know he's talked about it quite a bit.
I think I saw weirdly like the last 15 minutes of that movie, and that's all I've seen.
Yeah.
Just kind of weird. Probably because that's fucking Rob.
Yep.
Yeah,
probably.
mainly I want to see like how it pans out mostly, but like the progression, the journey, like getting there so far has just been kind of tough.
I can't believe that on this episode you would complain about that about any movie.
Oh Lord, oh God, we're gonna get into it.
We're gonna get into it.
But other than that, I think that's it.
Cool. I watched a bunch of stuff this week, and there's a lot of new releases, actually, I want to talk about. But first, I want to give another shout out to Sunray. They hosted a screening of Friday the 13th this past Friday, which was the 13th. And they had a 35 millimeter print of it. And they also...
really?
Yeah, it looked great. I never seen it on the big screen before, much less a print like that. But like the house, I mean, it was completely sold out. Like the audience was pretty great. And I want to give a shout out to a listener, Richie. He was there, and they actually had like almost like a short little stage play. Like before the show, he was up there like introducing the movie, giving some facts and stuff. And he's dressed up like a camp counselor, and then they had like Jason come in from the back, pretending like he's about to murder him, and then somebody walks out with a cake because it's Jason's birthday on Friday the 13th, whatnot. It was pretty cool, man. It was just like a nice little added touch, I thought. So big shout out to him for putting that together, and it was just fun. It was a really good time.
Great.
Yeah. As far as some new stuff that came out, I checked out a movie called Depraved, which is Larry Fessenden's latest movie. Just came out Friday. And it's pretty much like a hipster Frankenstein movie, I guess. It's like a Frankenstein story set in modern day Brooklyn. And this war vet, he was like a medic, and he comes back home, and he gets a job working for this like big pharmaceutical company. And he gets kind of bankrolled on the sly to basically try and figure out how to reanimate corpses. So he does that. He brings the movie pretty much starts with him having successfully done that, and then you basically watch the story unfold of how he manages his creation, or fails to manage it anyways. It was okay. I would give it like a light recommend. It's about 2 hours long. It's definitely it's too long for sure. And the end gets kind of strangely stylized, and they kind of it's obviously a Frankenstein story. There's not a second of this movie where you don't think it is, and then they just like out of nowhere towards the end are just like, this is a fucking Frankenstein story. If you didn't know, like they just straight up start talking about Mary Shelley and like Frankenstein, and it's just like, why? That's totally unnecessary to me. I don't know.
Damn hipster.
I give it a light recommend though. I like Larry Fessenden, and just in general, I think he's a pretty cool guy. So I try to watch his stuff and support him. Another new release that came out called Haunt. This movie called Haunt. I rented it on VOD. Yes, it's about an extreme haunt, like this group of friends on Halloween go into this extreme haunt, and of course it's not all show, and they start getting picked off one by one. Yeah, who could have seen that coming? So they're just trying to like survive the night, basically. It's produced by Eli Roth, which try and ignore that if you can.
We're just gonna look the other way on that one.
Yeah. I did not know that until the movie was over and the credits were rolling, and I was like, "Oh, come on!
I can't be seen."
Oh, no, I actually liked it. No.
I gotta say, I enjoyed the fuck out of it. Like, really,
you
really had a
recommended
good
that
time.
one pretty hard.
Yeah, it's man, it just like it starts off with such strong Halloween vibes, and then like the kills start coming, and they're not disappointing. And there's a couple little twisties and turnies throughout it that are interesting. And
where would you place it on a scale alongside Hell House LLC.
I probably preferred this to Hell House, and I did enjoy
Really?
Hell House though. Yeah,
Yeah, I did too. I know you did. So.
I think I like it a little better than that though.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but
I'm
also
gonna have to check that one out.
this is not a found footage movie, and I am just generally not a big found footage fan. So that might have something to do with
Yeah,
it. There,
I'm kind of a mark for found footage. I'm not like I don't love all of them, but like it's a real easy way to get me invested.
yeah.
Just like naturally immersed. But yeah, that's interesting. I got to check that out.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that shit. Get you in the Halloween spirit for sure. And also, I've been watching some more of The Deuce. Season 3 of The Deuce just started, and that show just gets better with each season.
Fuck.
Yeah, I highly recommend it, man. David Simon can't make a bad show. Cannot do it.
I know it.
It's great. It's also like with each season, the scope sort of expands. It starts off in the 70s, and season 3 takes place on New Year's Eve, 1984, and so they kind of start getting into the birth of like VHS tapes, and like the mafia becomes like a bigger role in the show, and they even sort of loosely touch on like the like punk scene and like CBGBs in New York City at the time, and it's just
Whoa.
interesting. They get into like the AIDS crisis.
That sounds
and-
interesting.
Yeah, it's super interesting. So check that out. And it's also like, you know, like I said, it takes place in 1984, the third season anyway. And it's not like nostalgia baity like some of this other stuff that's set in the 80s that's coming out. And I like that stuff too, not to like shit on that, but this is it feels more grounded and less pandering, I guess, than certain other 80s set properties.
Shows it for the crap hole that it was.
Kind of, yeah. It looks grimy.
Everybody's just walking around playing fucking Galaga and Pac-Man all day long,
New York City.
gagging with spoons and such.
New York
Just
City
doing all kinds.
pretty rough. And they get into like the development of it, like people buying up properties and the gentrification and whatnot. It's fucking cool, man. Watch that show.
Thanks, Giuliani.
Giuliani. Yeah. That's my Halloween costume right there.
Is this where we want to go with today's episode?
It's not.
It's always where I want to go.
Okay.
Old
I have
government
doubts.
stains himself over there.
Dude, Giuliani. Dude, I love that shit.
That's
I really just wanted Bob to say Giuliani.
I mean, we're definitely going to have to like hire somebody to be our Giuliani local TV show host character. Got to happen.
It's not the worst idea we have had, that's for sure. The worst idea we've had is to slap me in the
bar
ass.
is way down there.
Slap me
But it's-
in the ass.
It's somewhere above slap me in the ass, but somewhere below our cereal baron
Yeah.
idea.
Okay, well, all right. Let's go ahead and get into the main event. Talk about the curse of the Cannibal Confederates and start off with the back of the box. Here we go.
What's on the back of the box?
What's on the back of the box? All right. So this little gem came out in 1982, directed by Tony Malinowski, I think is how you say that.
Sure.
It's a TROMA movie, and the synopsis is as follows. A group of southern deer hunters stop at a church graveyard in the woods. Their activities arouse the corpses of long-dead Confederate soldiers who attack them.
They arouse them, man.
They're aroused, man. That's just a fact right there. I like what you're doing,
Okay.
Randy.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
So,
Watching the movie.
I mean, this is a silly question, but have you guys ever heard of this movie before? And would you recommend people check it out? Randy, why don't you?
I was
kick us off?
conceived of this movie, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
No.
Knowing
I
your
have not
parents,
heard.
that is incorrect. Incorrect.
You didn't know him in the 70s, baby.
When everything was a shithole.
So were you in your mom's belly for 12 years? You conceived in the 70s?
That's 70.
Yeah, man. I mean, isn't that typical?
Yeah. Took Randy a while to develop.
There's claw marks on the uterus.
Oh, God.
Stolen joke. Sorry.
So yeah, Randy, please.
No, I had not heard of it. No,
Yeah.
I haven't.
Would you recommend people watch it?
Oh, no. I wouldn't.
Righto. Justin, what about you?
No, I had never heard of this movie before, and I think I don't know. Bob was calling it. What were you calling it? The Curse of the
Curse of the Screaming Dead, also known as Curse of the Cannibal Confederates.
I've seen it Confederate. Everywhere I've seen it is Confederate cannibals. So
it's because that's what TROMA released it as. But
okay. So yeah, this is a TROMA film. I had never seen it before. Would I recommend? No, not particularly. However, like you guys are gonna, man, this movie's getting a lot of flack, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I like an underdog, but I don't know if you like old. And it felt like kind of like history a little bit. I mean, it's not that old.
Okay.
It's from like 1982.
It's a historical document.
No.
You thinking of the Lost Cause theory?
I mean, like film history.
Oh,
I still don't understand
still
that.
dubious. Very dubious of all of this, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
But please continue.
Anyways, it was kind of interesting to see because it's so if you like independent films like from this era, I don't know. I think it's an interesting watch.
You like independent films from that era?
Well, not particularly, but I'm just saying. I don't know. You guys are going to give it a hard time, and I don't know.
Oh yeah, we're the bad guys.
Okay, I wouldn't recommend for general audience, but I think there is maybe an audience out there somewhere for this film.
Well,
Not in this room, apparently.
I mean, that's
Not
true
in
of
this
every
chat
movie
room.
that's ever existed.
except for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never heard of this shit before. Obviously, for a reason. I would not.
Pinky out, Bob. Pinky out.
Hey, I like bad movies. I will
Dude,
freely
I
admit that.
know.
is not a snobby point of view. This movie is not. You don't have to be a snob to find this movie a little repugnant.
No, and to be fair, like, you know, I feel like most people who are going to listen to this probably haven't seen this movie, and I would be surprised if they actually went out of their way to watch it. Michael, we like Michael. Our thoughts and feelings about this movie have nothing to do with how we feel about Michael. And he left us a voicemail. We'll get to that later in the show. He picked this movie because he knew it was bad. So if we lay into it, just take that into consideration. I wouldn't recommend this movie to my worst fucking enemy. It's a pile of trash.
See, I love being like the lawful neutral in this scenario right here. I'm just trying to keep the peace between fucking Hatfields and McCoys on this movie.
Oh my God. This movie right here, don't watch it. You don't need to. Or watch it and tell me I'm
Serbian
wrong.
film before.
Please, man. Yeah. Well, I don't want to watch that one ever again either. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
Anyway, yeah. Well, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you choose to watch it and you feel differently, please let me know. Actually, I'd like to hear that. I'm not saying that this is the only opinion that you can have about this movie, but I did not fucking like it. That's for sure. So let's go ahead and get into the review. I'm gonna drop
that spoiler warning.
Spoiler
Bob.
warning. We'll get into it. Here we go.
Spoiler warning.
You've been warned. Justin, why is this
All right,
movie
hang
so
on, wait,
good?
yeah. Before Bob runs train on this, let's just take it from like a baseline and just run through like a general plot, because let's just take it from the neutral spot.
Okay, you want
here.
the plot. Here's the plot.
Hang on, no. Let me give the plot, and then because then you guys can shit all over it. Because here's
Whoa.
Here, so there's six people, friends.
Whoa. No, I'm just kidding.
3 guys and 3 girls. They're all like kind of coupled up, and they're going on just like a trip, maybe camping or so. I can't particularly
Hunting.
Hunting, yeah. They're going on a hunting trip.
And camping.
So they have their guns and everything, which so that makes logical sense. They're also, I think all the guys are Vietnam vets or whatever, right? I think, right?
I didn't get that, but
I don't remember that.
Marines. They're Marines.
Are they? Maybe.
Or something. Yes, I don't know. They were somehow, I think, in the military. At least one of them was. I think Mel, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, So they go on this hunting trip, and they stumble across a cemetery, and it's a pretty isolated cemetery because they're out like hunting in the woods or whatever. And it turns out to be this like big Confederate cemetery or whatever that hasn't been touched in a long time. In a church. And then the guy, he steals something from one, or he steals a journal or whatever, and it awakens the dead. And then the Confederate zombies, they chase them through the woods and then ultimately chase them to this house or whatever. And then that's kind of the big standoff. And so in a similar fashion, so it's just like the baseline story is not too far from something you would say, like, you know, like Evil Dead. People go out to an isolated cabin, they awaken the dead, they have to fight off the dead. So, I mean, it's not like a ridiculous horror premise is what I'm trying to say. It's like, okay,
that is a fair statement.
The fact that they're Confederate zombies, like, okay, that's like a spin, but just the general neutral premise, 6 people, 3 guys, 3 girls that are friends, go on a regular trip and they awaken the dead and they have to hold up and fight off the dead. Like, that's, you know, that's okay. There's nothing, I don't have any problem with the general story of this film.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, that's the lowest goddamn bar of all. So let me start out by saying, because we're establishing positions in this debate, here's what's going to happen. I didn't like this movie, and I did not hate it to the same degree that Rob does. It seems like Rob is like fire and brimstone. To me, I more than I hate this movie, nothing this movie. I feel nothing about it except that I got a couple of quick naps in. Like, I had to like pull it back a couple times, and that was in the first few minutes of the movie. It was pretty fucking slow, this movie. Like, we're talking about the like the progression of the plot. So here's like just the bare bones basic like progression all the way to the end. So you have these kids, they dig up a treasure or something, or they find a box that has like an old Confederate flag and a book, a diary that one of them steals just because it's established that he steals things. Yeah, so he stole it. Yeah. And even though everybody there is like, that belongs to those brave Southern Confederate soldiers, which I didn't understand a lick of. Like, okay.
They're so brave.
Well, not necessarily that. No, the guy said, like, this is somebody, or ultimately they were like, it doesn't belong to us. This is at least somebody's property. Like, somebody owns this property. Well, I mean, understand, like, we're not thieves like this piece of shit over here.
right. But they were just like arguing for like, and that's the hallmark of the first 2/3, 3/4 of this movie is a bunch of people badly ADR'd arguing with each other while looking like the beast.
Yeah,
and
that's the audio would just like shift. Like, they obviously overdubbed half of the shit, and it didn't line up, and it sounded horrible. I mean, that's like technical issues.
It was all of it overdubbed. I think.
The movie is wrought with technical issues, like editing. I mean, these people
there's been no restoration attempts, which is completely and utterly understandable for that time period. I like having seen some of the movies that, like, you know, Arrow and these people and Shout Factory and stuff will revive. It's sometimes a little bit like, oh, okay, that's a little surprising having seen that. But then you get to this shit, and like, it's not surprising. So that's where we're at. I think.
Not worthy of a transfer at all. It's
so. I will definitely say it does suffer. Like, I mean, like, even just the sound. Sometimes the sound is bad, but mostly the like, not like the choices they particularly made, but because of like the restoration show, you're just like, well, shit. Like, there's nothing you could really do about that. Like, you know, it's just.
I mean, there's problems like that, but then there's problems like, oh, we didn't have any lights with us this shoot, so we're just going to shoot it anyway.
It looks like they had a VHS camera.
I thought some of the lighting was cool.
I'm sure they did.
Oh my god!
I thought the lack of no, there was this one shot where the background is like completely black, but with the way they do
shot.
Well, no, okay. But I'm talking about particularly like with the zombies or whatever, they do like this white face on some of them as part of the makeup, and they just kind of are able to like fade completely like into the complete black.
So that's what I would say I was okay with. Like, the zombies they look terrible, but they're kind of like charmingly terrible. They look like Halloween Horror Nights scares. Like, it's maybe a little worse than that. Or definitely a little worse than that, but like, you know, and they also are like inconsistent. Like, one of them is like completely pallid white and is like the leader of the rebels or whatever who wrote the diary. And then there's just a bunch of other dudes who just kind of have various like weird zombified things going on, but it's never anything like beyond a few like ripped clothes and some makeup.
There's one like really weird one that almost looks like a monster out of something completely different.
So there's like as far as the monsters go and the title of the movie, there's really no reason for them to be Confederate soldiers at all, really. And also, they're not.
It could have been anything. That's true.
They're not really cannibals. They're just zombies. They're just reanimated corpses eating people.
Well, that has a lot to do with the TROMA label, but
and like, why they do scream? So, Curse of the Screaming Dead makes more sense.
Scream. Which, I was noticing that in the movie. Like at a certain point, the sound is so bad that I couldn't tell if it was just like weird, fucked up background grain sound, or if it was supposed to be screaming. And then I saw as I was wondering this, the white-faced zombie walks on camera with his mouth open. So I was like, oh, I guess it's screaming.
Yes, that's a scream.
Question answered. So and so these kids, they're not kids. They're like in their 20s. And they find this thing. One of them steals the book. They argue for a long time about things. One girl's scared of a moving gravestone, and the boyfriend's a shitbag who doesn't want to give a shit. And everybody just kind of sucks for a while, and then zombies show up and start attacking them, and they have to knock down a couple zombies. Some cops come and like, all right, we found some bodies. What are you kids doing? They're like, oh, we got attacked. Like, oh, people just swinging bodies from the trees at you, I guess. And then attack those cops and kill them.
The cops actually kind of cracked me up. Because
me too. They're very matter of fact.
One of them was like, yeah, my dad was trying to get me to go into like undertaking, and for some reason he really wanted me to be an undertaker. He's like, what the fuck? And then he also starts talking about like the kids are telling them like, there's these fucked up creatures and we killed a few of them, and he's like, now that see, you've got your garden variety psychopaths, but this doesn't sound like that. It sounds like something else. We don't have those around here, just like random dialogue. So there's maybe 2 minutes of this movie that I like with the cops. It's pretty fun.
What about like they have exploding bullets, Bob? You didn't like the showdown with the zombies?
What?
No,
what? There was one special effect in this movie, and it was a zombie head exploding apparently on impact, and it was about like 1 second of film. And then they cut away instantly. It's like, can't show too much. Cannot show too much.
It does suffer. I mean, it's got a lower budget.
It's got like $20.
It's got a budget that's like,
If you had a budget, I would be pretty surprised.
Most of the kills are kind of like off screen or whatever. But there's some zombie stuff going on.
I'll tell you what they do in copious amounts, which is noshing on innards for like 10 straight minutes.
Literally.
I saw somebody online. I was reading reviews for this movie, of which there are not many. But I read one review on Amazon that was like, there's about a 10-minute ASMR section, or no, maybe this was in the Slack channel actually. Somebody was like, it's like a 10-minute ASMR
I think it was Slack,
of just the sound of zombies eating, which was the sound I was mimicking earlier. It's just that and darkness. That is like seriously several minutes of film.
It's frustrating. I got frustrated watching this shit. There's also like when they kind of start rising out of the grave, that felt like it took another 10 minutes. They're just like,
they did that like twice, didn't they?
Yeah.
It seemed like
the movie starts with it, and then they go back to
and then
it,
they go back and show it again. It's fucking.
It takes forever.
But, yeah, it's egregious, and they're really padding shit out in this movie. So, like the characters, there's a one blind girl and her sister, and I thought like my modern like understanding of horror movies is maybe
go ahead.
Yeah. So I was thinking that blind girl was like, okay, maybe we'll have a final girl situation with her. No, she gets murdered. Everybody gets murdered.
Actually, all the people that kind of matter do get murdered. That was kind of like a surprise twist, and in some capacity, it like made it. It was. I was.
There was
surprised.
no twist in this movie.
Well, no. I just the people that because there's this one dude who survived, and he was the most like neutral guy. I guess.
That wasn't even. It wasn't the thief, was it? It was the other guy. They looked.
No. It was just. It's just one of the other dudes who really just didn't get.
This
much.
Guy who like. They just argue a lot in this movie, and they look so similar. These people.
Yeah.
There's a blonde BG and two black-haired BGs, and then there's a blind girl in red, and then not blind sister in blue, and then a blonde girl who hates bugs. and says it
Oh yeah.
probably 25 times that she hates bugs. I hate bugs.
But I thought it made like the deaths maybe more impactful, especially I guess like the blind girl. When the blind girl dies, it's like
I was surprised because
Nothing
like
was impactful in this movie.
I wouldn't say
feel a
impactful.
thing, Bob.
I was just surprised by that. I was like,
Alright.
oh, okay, well, I guess we're just not going to have any sort of real arc for anyone. So,
Yeah.
like, it's just not going to
Yeah.
I
That
thought
is
maybe she
true.
would be the one for us to focus on where she's being misled by like she's dating the biggest piece of shit, the guy who steals stuff and also lies to her and
She
constantly
is,
trying
and
to.
I thought his arc was going to come from her death. Once she died, I thought maybe he was going to have some because
Yeah, maybe.
that was the thing about that guy a little bit too. And he was like the biggest piece of shit, but like there were moments, I guess, because he was like with the blind girl where it seemed like he was going to have a redemption moment. Like he was actually like there was going to be something there.
Yeah.
So
I could have seen those two being like in some capacity the central focal points of this movie, and he is to some degree.
yeah.
Like, and because he is, she is as well, I think. But the idea, her being blind, doesn't really come into play. Their relationship never really comes into play. None of that shit really matters. It's really filling out the movie, which could have been trimmed down to about a 10-minute short max, I would say.
About nothing. Nothing in this movie matters. Nothing carries
Bob,
weight.
oh.
It's
I've seen Bob buy some terrible.
Yeah, dude, Rob, what was the name of that movie?
all
I
been
watched
better
when
than
I was in
this.
town.
Bob, I've seen you buy like a homosexual Bigfoot or something.
I bought that
What
for
is
Randy's
that?
birthday. That movie's better than this. It's called
That was a
Bigfoot,
TROMA
a
movie.
Love
It is
Story.
better than this. It's definitely better than this.
Bigfoot, a love story. Better.
Bigfoot, a Love Story is a fun movie. But no, this is like
So Bob,
that's
Bob
what's
over
happening.
there, pretentious Bob.
Rob,
It's-
what was that movie that I watched with you last time I was in town and you fell asleep?
You got to give me more than that. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. They were locked in a house. I don't even remember what the fucking monster was, but they were locked in a house, and several people were drunk, and there was a guy raping people. Like there's just kinds of fucked up things going
See, this is my point.
I don't know.
These are the types of movies Bob can't even write. He's seen 20 of those movies.
You had
this
just
year.
bought it, and it was I think an Arrow release or something like that. I'll have to look it up, but
I don't know, man.
I can't
I'll
remember.
watch
The
it.
house wouldn't let him leave or some shit, and I don't
Oh,
know.
you're talking about The Suckling.
The Suckling. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That movie is like on a spectrum of all movies. It's maybe a fraction better than the one we watched this week.
Ooh, I mean, I disagree with that, but, to each their own.
It is.
This
It's
movie,
not. See, and that's what I'm talking about. Like that, and like Yeti, a Love Story, and all, like TROMA movies in general. They're known for being as big and bombastic and absurd. Like they're going for obscenity. They're going for offense and obscenity in general, and at least like more modern stuff from them. And that's got its place or whatever. But this movie had none of that, and it's because they bought it secondhand. Basically, they were just snatching up movies at the time this movie came out. So this was re-released under Curse of the Cannibal Confederates, and it just doesn't have that going on for it. Like it's not a transgressive movie in the least, except like they say shit and stuff, and there's a little bit of weird like association with fucking like goddamn Confederates. I don't know, but like aside from that, there's nothing in this movie that I would never watch this movie and say what a TROMA movie that was. Like that, this movie isn't a TROMA movie. And,
what a student film that was made in
Rob, you didn't
1982.
like any of like the zombie design or anything, like with the white face and the black background, or the killing zombies,
like
or they
kinda like
eating
the white
them, or anything?
I mean, not
Bob?
particularly. I was bored or annoyed pretty much the whole time.
See, I was mostly bored. And the like white face I thought was kind of cool, and like I just wish they kind of would have stuck with one look for the zombies. They just didn't do that. Even there's no consistency there. So, and then there was just like very little of the zombies. All things told, like that 10-minute like gross ASMR scene is about as much zombie as you get. Like at one time, they'll just kind of pop in. They'll have a few face shots. They'll scream, and then they're gone. I would say maybe. I want to say like 10% of this movie has zombies in it. Is that generous? That might be generous.
10%. I feel like what was like the last 20 minutes,
If it's good enough for God, it's good enough for Randy, okay?
maybe.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
No,
It's not true at all.
Give
Randy
me
hates
better than God.
virgins, Bob.
I deserve better than
Oh man, this movie. They just like take the book back. They get their stupid journal back, and then they just leave. They're like, all right, that's it. That's all we want.
That was it. They just
Later.
wanted the journal.
Later.
It was disrespectful for them to steal the journal, so they killed everyone.
Because it was like the Colonels too.
They also
Colonel
like had
journal?
a real fucking sob story. They had a real sob story for these Confederates. Like, hey, we're torturing us. That's no kind of warfare that I would.
That was the thing. Yeah, I want to like choke out Lincoln because of like he's.
Yeah, he's talking about choking out Lincoln, and we're supposed to be like, oh, these poor Confederates. We got to get their shit.
Well,
back.
that was the only thing. Bob was like, "There's no reason for him." Rob was like, "There's no reason for him to be Confederates," and I mean, at least they gave him like some attachment. Like, and I think Bob came in with a bunch of like expectations too, like, oh, they're going to be Confederate, or like, Randy was.
Did expect
it's in the title, so.
Well, no, about the expectations of what the role the Confederates were going to play, but just because they didn't play that role, they still gave them like at least like some reason for them to be Confederates.
I guess.
Just
not real. I mean, you could have replaced that with
expecting.
Native American. Like the only thing that made the Confederate thing matter is that journal, and that journal could have said anything you wanted it to say.
Yeah, but at least they gave it something.
I mean, yeah, they definitely did the bare minimum. That's true.
Barely made a
Bob,
thing. Barely made a thing.
You wouldn't buy this.
This is technically an hour and a half of footage. So this is a feature.
You gotta catch them all, Bob.
This is not a Pokemon that I care about personally.
Oh, but what about when they have the director commentary and the wallpapers?
Don't you want to hear from the director, Bob?
Yeah.
No. No, I don't. Behind the scenes food.
I want to hear the Lloyd Kaufman commentary because he apparently hates this movie a lot.
Really?
We'll get into that with trivia.
Well, I'm just rolling the trivia in because there was so little there was so little to pull from.
The thing is Bob seeks out notoriously like bad movies to purchase them a lot of the time and to like watch them.
They are curious, movies that have like spectacle involved usually.
Yeah, there's usually
or some
something.
historical significance or some
was it that just you were bored, Bob? Is that the thing? It was bad, but it wasn't like entertaining?
Nothing about it was entertaining to me really at all. Like it's just boilerplate nonsense that looked terrible and sounded terrible. The acting was atrocious. The editing was atrocious. Like nothing. There was no hook that ever really like pulled me in at any point. They're just like trying to fill time, basically. Like, well, we really got to stretch this thing out, make a feature. We better get 90 minutes footage somehow, baby.
I legitimately fell asleep a couple of times.
It's awful. It's just it was so boring. It annoyed me. Like,
see, I was definitely bored. Definitely bored.
Yeah.
But there were a couple things I was like, okay, well, it's a break from the monotony. I kind of enjoy that makeup. I kind of enjoy watching that guy walk on camera already screaming.
Exploding bullets.
I didn't like this movie, and I just was bored by it, and I felt nothing for it. Like I've never been so little invested in a movie that I can think of my entire life. So little. It didn't even make me mad or annoy me. It was just nothing.
One of the notes I'd made towards the end of the movie was like, you could not watch this movie and have the same experience as watching it because it's a big fucking nothing. Like, if you haven't watched it, you've already watched it, pretty much.
Yeah. You talk about Evil Dead. Evil Dead's great because it has amazing characters with personality.
Yeah,
amazing.
My back.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you could brought up Evil Dead, but Evil Dead it's got like characters with traits and relationships that aren't just doing.
And some really innovative shit.
I was just trying to set it in like the horror world. Like the premise of this isn't so outlandish or so like what, they're Confederates. It's just it's a pretty actually like from a horror standpoint, pretty like paint by numbers. Like you got these friends, they go out into the wilderness. Oh shit, the dead's coming. They got to fight them off. Like, you know,
they're using common tropes. They're just not using them well.
Trying to shine this pile of shit here, Justin.
Yeah, man. Respect, but
none. Bob, pinky out, Bob. I've seen some of the things I've seen.
His pinky's out. Your pinky is literally inverted into your hand. You are making excuses.
Yeah. You're saying that I'm pretentious, but you're also saying that I watch some of the worst movies you've ever seen. So which one is it? You can't have both. Can't have both.
You're too snobby about the bad movies.
Oh my lord. Oh man.
You gotta know how to pick them, Juice.
Juice. Oh, God.
You gotta know how to get the
God.
good ones.
Oh lord.
I definitely like this movie better than Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. No, I don't. I'm just kidding.
No.
I really don't.
Whoa, Randy, that's some blasphemy. That's a 5-star movie right there.
Really? Because you gave it 0.5. I'm looking at your score.
Well, 5-star from the old bitch.
Yeah, didn't Cesar give it 5?
I just said, I don't know. I'm going to have to look
I
again.
think he
He did, yeah. That's what I was
Cesar's
saying. It's a 5-star
crazy.
movie.
Cesar's crazy.
He did
He legit
not.
did.
He
Yes,
gave it
he
a
did.
He did give it a 5. I was looking at the wrong column.
That's
But
like
yeah.
an infamous straight chilling moment.
I
How do
don't,
you
you
guys not
know
know?
I don't give a shit about this podcast once it's out of my mouth.
Randy, that's some cold shit right there.
Yeah, it is.
You cut me real deep just then, Randy. You cut me
Ice
real
cold.
deep.
Ice cold. I don't know what else to say about this movie. I feel like we're kind of spinning our wheels. Do you guys have anything else you want to touch on before we rate it?
No.
Silence. All
I
right.
really just like what, there is nothing else to say.
There is nothing.
Well, you guys want to talk about the sisters at all? Like their parents die. One of the girls is blind, but they're Japanese, and they're like
Yeah, they were talking about Hiroshima and stuff for a minute.
Yeah, they're talking about like their grandmother.
Comparing their
like,
plight to the plight of the fucking rebels. What? Okay.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything worth saying about that. Really,
Yeah, they.
that happened.
There's, I don't know. That's it. One of the guys likes to drink beer. They talk about like voodoo and stuff for a hot second. Confederates come back to life. Cops are kind of funny. They give the diary back. The dead go away. You know, the movie. That's it. Let's go ahead and rate this thing. Randy, out of 5, how you feel about whatever the fuck this movie's called?
Well, the reason I was looking up at our scores is I was trying to find what my lowest scores were so I could see what my bar is. What's my tolerance for pain exactly? And I would say that I enjoyed this movie a little better than The Mummy, the Tom Cruise Mummy, which I gave a 0.5.
That's a bad
So I'm gonna give it a 0.75.
Wow. Simply stunning.
Yes.
Thank you, Bob.
That's it. I mean, because again, I didn't hate this movie. This movie is like, it's like having a weird dream, and then you wake up and you don't think about the dream anymore because it's over. Like except I knew I had to talk about it, so I had to like read up on it to like have something to say. But yeah, there's nothing to it.
We're professionals. Wait, no, we're not. I never said that. Justin, how you feel? Out of 5.
Whoa, Bob, I think you're going to be surprised.
Okay.
Is this movie spectacular? No. Is it going to be winning? You know, is it in any kind of top horror movie list or whatever?
Maybe.
Absolutely. Well,
Justin.
probably not, or it probably shouldn't be. Is it a absolutely huge piece of flaming shit? Yes, it is. This movie is absolutely fucking terrible. It is a huge, just
Oh, was this the whole? You were buttering us
Yep.
up for a bit.
He's doing this.
Okay, this was the bit the whole time. Okay,
This movie is it's God. It was really
all right. Do your tap dance and roll off.
We've been stained.
It was bad. I mean, goddamn. There's no reason for any decisions that they make. Like, why is the girl blind? They don't do anything with it. Why are they Confederates? They don't do anything with it. Why are they like Marines or like literally any choice that is made? It just seems like somebody was just like, you know what? They should be like, why were they Japanese? Like, yeah, why the fuck would they talk about their grandmother like in their road? Like, it literally everything that they do makes no goddamn fucking sense.
There he
Nothing at
is.
all.
There he is.
Like literally, even like we're gonna steal the why does the guy take the journal and not the treasure? He's a thief. Like, why does he not take the treasure? Like, why even bring up the treasure and then be like, no, we're not gonna steal the journal? Like, I don't.
Because he steals things for no reason, apparently, like rings and shit.
They goddamn, they talk all the time. This movie is like 95% the shittiest dialogue you could ever imagine. Anybody, one, writing and then filming. Not only do they write the shittiest dialogue, they can't even film it properly. It's like, holy shit.
But it's got pretty good lighting, though, huh?
This movie
And, it's got a plot. It's got a plot, though. Right?
This movie is absolute dog shit. So I'm going to give it a 0 stars from Shaboy.
Holy shit. Juice with the all right. Well,
Trying to get Bob riled up a little bit.
yeah.
Bob, the whole time I'm watching this movie, by the way, was just texting me like, "This is so shit, I can't stand," which I thought was pretty funny. So I thought maybe I could get him riled up. Which, to be fair to Bob, it's bad, Bob. It's bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's
real bad. This movie,
That's what you call game theory.
I mean, pretty much already said how I feel about this movie, but it's terrible. It's a big pile of shit at best. At worst, it's really just nothing at all. Just kind of, you don't need to watch this movie. Do yourself a favor and don't watch it.
Unless you're paid $10 by a
It's like notoriously bad. Like I saw on like the worst movie. It literally feels like Bob was right. It feels like a student made this in the 80s with like very subpar
in their
equipment.
backyard.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's what it looks.
It's a weekend movie. Like,
yeah.
This is what I am like. I haven't seen any of them, but this is what I imagine like Sam Raimi's like middle school years kind of looked like. You know what I mean? When he was doing his whatever with High 8 or whatever it was. I mean, it's probably those are probably a lot better than this because it's at least got the charm of a bunch of scrappy kids going out there and making a thing. This movie does not have that. These are adults.
Why would you focus? Somebody thought they wrote some badass dialogue because that literally is this movie. Like the opening scene is them just 3 fucking dudes just arguing in a truck for like 10 minutes. They're just, and then the women are like, I can hear them arguing, and then they just talk about nothing.
I hope he's not drinking beer again.
I hate bugs.
Yeah.
And then that sister's just really shitty for no reason. Like, oh, you got to do it yourself, you blind bitch. She's like, hey, can you like get my bag or something? You get it, you fucking slut. It's like, God damn.
So I'm giving this a 0 as well.
Wow. Am I the only one around here that doesn't hate this actively? Apparently.
Yeah.
This is the first 0 I've ever given. Have you ever given a 0 before, Justin?
Yeah, I gave a 0 to The Farm, which is another Patreon pick by Bex.
The Farm is like fucking Spielberg compared to this shit.
It is.
Like, no joke. Okay. I would much rather watch The
I've
Farm
never
again.
given a 0. I kind of steer clear of zeros, but like...
I think that's the only other 0. I might have maybe given one more, but that's the only one that comes to mind.
I feel the same way, Randy. I normally would never give a 0. I don't really think that's fair. Like, if somebody like actually completes a movie, at least give them a little something. There's usually something. Yeah. This movie is a big pile of fucking nothing. It's a 0.
Yeah, I mean that's actually what saves it for me. Is because at least The Mummy with Tom Cruise is something loathsome for me to be angry at.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't even. I might as well have watched an hour and a half of stock footage reels.
Just static on the screen.
Oh, really? It's true. I could have just flipped through the channels like twice per second and gotten the same experience as this movie.
Yeah. So that's gonna.
Man, that dialogue's pretty bad.
That's gonna do it here. So like, this might be our lowest aggregate ever. It's 0.25. It's a quarter of a star.
That's definitely the lowest.
Yeah.
Quarter of a star.
Some Yabos couldn't have hurt, guys. It really couldn't.
Dude, I was hoping. Because they were even like, oh, we're going to, they're walking around their bikinis. There's no, lake. There's no pool.
You guys should be ashamed. You scored this lower than a Serbian film.
Yeah.
Really?
At least a Serbian film was, lit. And, you could hear the dialogue.
Like capital L, capital I, capital T. Like, that shit was lit, dog.
Dude, at least it was lit, dog.
Damn, that shit was lit, son. Woo.
That shit was lit.
Damn. Dude, I mean, a Serbian film was an actual film. Was it egregious? Yeah, sure. But it was
it was actually a Serbian film. So there you go. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into our Rotten Tomatoes segment.
Certified fresh to death.
Juice, take it away.
Curse of the Cannibal Confederates. Guess what, guys? There is no official Rotten Tomatoes score on this. However,
Get out of town.
I do like this poster though. This poster is cool, and it's really fun. It says "Curse of the Cannibal Confederates," and then the little subtext is "The South shall rise again and again and again." I thought that was pretty funny, and the poster actually likes it. It's like this poster is better than anything I saw in this.
That poster is the only thing other than the bump at the beginning of the movie that is actually produced by TROMA. So that might be why.
Okay. Yeah. It's actually looks cool. So there is an audience score though. User rating 128 people have seen and rated this movie. Good Lord. That seems high.
128, you said?
128. Yes. So let's go around the table and we'll see if you can guess what the audience thinks of Curse of the Cannibal Confederates. Randy, I'll let you pick first.
Oh, with that sample size, there's some trolls involved. So I'm hedging my bets a little bit. Like one troll could throw the whole goddamn thing out of whack. I'm going with 10%.
10%. Bob,
Randy stole my score, man. That's exactly.
Hey, sorry, man. Be quicker next time he asks for me to score.
I'll go 11.
11. Bob will steal it away because there's no logic to this. There's nothing I can read. There's no opinions or anything.
What's the number?
It is. Hang on. Building suspense, Randy. It's 27%. Which is
too high. Too high.
Yeah, but again, 128 people. I don't know what these people are thinking. I watched this on YouTube. It was on YouTube. And I was reading some of the comments, and people just watch it because it's bad, from what I can tell.
I think it's like Lloyd Kaufman has gone on record as saying it's his least favorite TROMA movie, I believe. Something very similar.
I saw the same thing. He said it was of all the TROMA movies, which I think there's 1,000 or something.
There's a lot.
He said it was definitely in the bottom 5, of the worst 5. So I don't know what the rest is.
That's a significantly low bar, and then that's Night of Low Bars. That's about as low as it goes.
Real bad.
I would say that alone might get people to watch it just out of both completionist and sort of notoriousness.
Was it just me? Because I zoned in and out definitely a lot. I think they just reused some shots too, several times.
Definitely.
I was like, wait a second. I think I've seen that before, but I'm not really engaged, so it's hard to tell. I was like, oh, but I think they used to again and again and again. I was like, holy shit!
Gotta hit 90 minutes, baby. Gotta do it.
I love it when they would do that thing like Reptilicus where. They'll show there was one shot where one of the guys was holding the gun and he shot it and it exploded somewhere that couldn't have possibly been in the same zip code. I loved that. It was definitely the stock footage from some other location in the world.
And they were like, we got exploding bullets. And then the dude goes on a whole rant oh my God, why would you shoot a deer with that? It would blow half of it away. But then, so they have exploding bullets, and they one of its heads gets blown off or something with the exploding bullet. But then he shoots his friend in the arm, and it's no, he's oh my arm. It's he doesn't explode or anything. He just gets shot in the arm.
He wasn't using his Roman candle shooter that time. So.
Quarter star.
Exploding bullets.
This is one of those classic quarter star movies you hear all about.
The old.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
The old QJ, huh, boys?
Mm-hmm.
This is a QJ.
It's a quarter of the way there.
To 1 star, anyway. Which?
Yeah, I guess to 1 star.
Ugh. It's a QJ of a QJ.
Is there an audience score?
That was the audience.
That was the audience.
Okay, there is no
There is no Rotten Tomato score. Sorry.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Critics on this movie would be just cruel. Just cruel to do.
There's not even one critic. There is Yeah, the page
Roger
is-
Ebert says spellbinding.
Oh, see all audience reviews. Maybe I can read some audience reviews.
Read the reviews, baby.
This film is. Somebody gave it a 5 stars on August 26,
Troll.
2016.
Of course.
Let me read it to you, since what else we can do. This film is dark, not in tone, but literally dark. Good luck figuring out what is happening on camera. What?
5 stars.
Thankfully for us, all of TROMA's back catalog is free to be watched on their YouTube channel. Is that why you gave it 5 stars? Somehow get the South to rise from the grave again. Being a TROMA movie, you know what you're in for as soon as the title card hits. So bad it's good. I don't think so.
Nope.
So there's one 5-star review on Amazon.
Okay.
Not to steal a bit from How Did This Get Made, but the one 5-star review on Amazon says, the South shall rise again and again and again. And then it says, fantastic quality and beautiful restoration, worth 1,000 dinars.
I don't
That's
know how much that is, but
Not much.
Oh, wait, there is another one. There's another 5-star. I'm reading it blind. So bad it was good. A classic and a worthy competitor of Plan 9 from outer space. If it could be done in 3D, it might even be better. So that's the loneliest
done in
person in the world.
3D. That I don't understand. That's just not
Would
my
you
way.
benefit
Of
this
like
movie from 3D?
so bad it's good. The only thing I could think of, and I still gave it a 0.5 star, was like when we were talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. But just because it was so like, it's more the intentions. Like it's just like, you rascally bastards. Like,
This movie in 3D. This movie, like the way it's shot, it looks like fucking Super Mario Brothers. It's just people flat on the screen looking at each other in profile all the time.
3D.
They never have any depth in any of the shots because they don't have fucking enough camera or lights for it. They can't light enough shit.
Yeah, I don't know why you would.
So if it's
And it's mostly just people talking. So
That comment made me more mad than the movie, though.
it's like
if that review is talking about Jordanian dinar, then 1,000 dinar is worth $1,410.45 American dollars.
Somebody,
it's not worth that.
somebody is telling a fib on Amazon.
I hope he didn't pay that much.
He probably did. Most likely he did.
Especially since I watched it on YouTube.
For
So
free.
if you want to watch this film,
It's free.
or like
It's
or
on
10
Amazon
minutes
Prime
of
for
this
free
film.
too, as well. Yeah, if you want to scrub through the time bar for this movie for a minute before thinking better of it, you certainly can for free.
I guess get to like even like there were like the blind girl, like she just gets killed off screen and then like her body's on there and they just run past it.
Oh shit!
She's
gone.
It's literally like the one character you might actually care about in this film. She's like, oh shit, keep going. It's like,
Now,
okay.
she's the only one that's never like a shitbag to anybody.
Also, too, there's really no reason for her to be blind. It's not like
None.
she holds up the
Yeah.
group or it, like they're literally just like, she's blind and she's got a sister and they're Japanese. Literally, there's anything that might you would think hold any kind of significance in this movie.
Justin's trying to make up ground now.
You guys didn't do a good enough job shitting on this movie.
Yeah, there was certainly not enough to say to shit on this movie. There's
Randy,
plenty more to add to the pile.
do you have any trivia left, Randy?
I pretty much blew the load, man. There's not a lot of information about this, just like there's not a lot of viewers of this movie. So,
Always blowing your load, Randy.
yeah, man.
Cooters? Are there cooters in this thing?
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody's
like,
developed enough to be a cooter.
I don't know. You could say maybe Mel is.
Is Mel the guy who steals shit? Because he's the only thing I can think of that maybe would qualify. He manipulates a blind girl into sex a lot. So,
You know, here,
She's a willing adult, Randy.
apparently, and she's dead.
Michael is the cooter of the week for making us watch this damn movie.
Congratulations, in-world cooter. We're broken into the real world now.
Looking at you, Michael, cooter of the week, nominated. First time for that. Yeah. So if that's
Jury
all,
of your peers too.
Yeah, right.
Jury of your peers.
The vote is in. Let's go ahead and get into some horror news. I got some news to talk about.
Extra, read all about it.
All right, gentlemen's. So we watched a trailer. We watched a trailer for a movie that's coming to Shudder. We don't have a release date yet, but it is called Blood Machines, and it's being referred to as a cosmic opera.
I was confused because at the end it said the cosmic opera, didn't it? Didn't it say the cosmic opera?
I don't know if it said
or did it just say cosmic.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know if it did. I don't know why that would matter.
Yeah, either way.
Why would it indicate to you?
because I was confused about the title. Like at the end, I was like, "Is that the subtitle?" Or
I think
like,
it's just describing what the movie is because it's a very bizarre trailer.
Okay. Well, that's why the would not make much. Like a cosmic opera is more like broad, but if it was like the cosmic opera, I was like, well, is that
I don't think it's a known entity. It's not a known thing.
Okay.
Adapting or anything, I don't think.
So the movie follows two space hunters tracking down a machine trying to free itself. After taking it down, they witness a mystical phenomenon. The ghost of a young woman pulls itself out of the carcass as if the spaceship had a soul. That's
a little revealing.
Yes. Okay. All right. I mean, the trailer we saw, you couldn't make heads or tails of it. So
you really couldn't
that's
at
not.
all.
Somebody definitely watched Mandy and was like, we can go bigger.
Dude, I was going to ask. I was like, is this the dude who did Mandy? Because that's what it looks like.
It's the lighting. That like red on blue lighting is like huge in vogue now. And it's like, I think it looks great still. I'm interested.
I'm into it. This also has very much like a cheap-ish looking kind of science fiction, like 60s, 70s sci-fi movie, but it's obviously a little polished. I don't know. I like
some of the effects look really cheeseball, like intentionally so though. Like
some look pretty cool.
They have that
too,
talking head. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Is like some of it's like then you got like a floating head hologram that's talking to the guy in the spaceship, and that looks really terrible because it would look terrible if they did that in Star Trek. So it feels like that's intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
like
movie
they're making a lot of choices.
This was crowdfunded too, which I didn't.
Was it?
Realize. Yeah, that's kind of impressive the way it looks, man. It looks like it had somewhat of a budget, at least. You know,
it does look actually great. They throw in that like the heavy synthwave, which made me think of like Mandy too,
which is done by Carpenter Brute. It's a band called Carpenter Brute. They're pretty dope. Check them out if you haven't.
Okay,
you like synthwave.
I like the look of this, and I was intrigued, but like it felt also too like they're trying a little too hard.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that too. I'm worried it might fall into like the Kung Fury zone where it's like a little goes a long way, so a full movie might be too much.
Yeah, it felt
that's where
like
Mandy excelled because it also had that like somewhat grounded real portion that was recognizable things that I can latch on to, as opposed to this looked almost like it's like somebody it's like an anime almost. It's got kind of like a blend of an anime and that sort of like late 80s cosmic bullshit sci-fi.
Yeah, like a chick, like the chick had like this big glowing like cross on her torso and like shit. I don't know. It just seemed a little handy-handed with all the different elements. Like some of the elements I was like, oh, that looks cool, but then paired with this and this and this and this, I was like, oh man, this might be an overload. They might be trying to do too much.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see, but like it's a cosmic opera, which that's like just a huge statement to make. That's you're teetering on an edge when you do that sort of thing. And if you do it knowingly. Like that person's going out there and saying like, look, it's gonna be what it is. Like, whatever comes out is definitely like an intentional outcome, and it's just kind of a matter of taste whether or not you like it, I think, is what it's gonna be.
Well, and even that kind of like left a little bit of a bad taste. Like if it's just like describing the movie, and it's like, I don't know, it seemed a little like full of it. Like this is a cosmic opera.
Exactly.
It's like, let me decide. Let me call it a cosmic.
That's exactly
opera.
right. It's like think pretty highly of yourself, but I gotta think that it's like an intentional like it's a cosmic opera. Like that's kind of like a half ironic statement. You know what I mean? But I don't know that. Without seeing it, we don't know. And on the last horror movie that used the term opera was Repo the Genetic Opera that I can think of. And I thought that was terrible. So
that was like,
really.
And that was like a musical though, right?
That was it was a musical.
This
We
does
don't know
not
if this is
seem.
going to be a musical or not. It doesn't seem, but we don't know.
It's a cosmic opera. That's just like it said. A genetic opera is the name of the movie.
Yeah.
Repo genetic opera.
I don't think this is going to be a musical, just based on what we saw.
I'm not saying
I
it's
guess
a
we
musical.
don't know. Justin literally just said it might be, though.
Oh yeah, it might be. Yeah, okay, I didn't catch that.
Oh yeah, we don't know. It could be.
It could be anything, really.
It could be nothing.
I hope it's an hour and a half. It's like 10 minutes, the 10 minutes or whatever, the 2 minutes that we just saw, and then an hour and a half of somebody sitting down and planning out their IRA.
It could be.
It could
Could be. It could be a really long H&R Block commercial.
It's
Could
very
be.
cosmic, very
Mhm.
operatic for sure.
Very opera.
So opera. So we got that to look
So
forward
opera,
to.
bro.
Probably sometime towards the end of the year, I would assume. Be hitting Shudder. We'll see. Who knows? We also got some news. James Wan's making another horror picture. And this little guy right here, he's playing around in the realm of the Giallo movie. Giallo, which is weird
I
and
saw that.
interesting. Yeah, so the working title for his next movie is called Silver Cup, and it's cast Maddie Hassan, Annabelle Wallace, and Jake Abel. I don't really know who those people are exactly, but I don't know. This will probably come out sometime next year. We don't have any sort of plot synopsis. He's keeping that pretty tight, but we know it's going to be a Giallo movie, which is
Giallo.
interesting.
You know, as much as I've seen several Giallo movies at this point, and I still have a hard time pinning down what exactly makes a Giallo Giallo. I just can't it never is like just jumps to mind when I see something. Oh, this is Giallo.
The easiest way to describe it is it's like kind of an Italian version of a slasher movie, but it's very much like it's a murder mystery. So it's not you don't like see a masked killer running around like you would in like Halloween or whatever. You just usually
You
see
gloves.
Yeah, black leather gloves murdering someone, and you don't know who the killer is or what they look like. They don't have some sort of iconic mask or anything like that. And it's kind of a methodical whodunit, I guess is the easiest way to put it. And usually the music is very synth heavy. And a lot of times these movies...
Isn't it usually more style over substance?
That's what I was about to say. A lot of times it's more about the feeling the movie's trying to portray than it is like a logical plot. So they don't necessarily always make sense. Yeah.
Don't I know it, baby?
So we'll see.
Yes.
We'll see what he does.
Actually, apparently not.
No, yeah. It's just like it's not that I can recognize them like if they were made around the time they were supposed to, but like people like with making correlations in modern movies, I have a hard time parsing it as an element of newer movies, I guess is really what it is. But people make that claim about movies. I don't know. There's always room for Giallo. Time for Bill Cosby impressions.
Do it, Bob.
Would the Giallo in the
there we go.
Oh shit, our reputation.
If the glove don't fit, you must quit. All right.
Okay. You're really blending things now, baby. Everything is a remix.
Murder. So yeah, we'll see what that looks like.
Oh man, an O.J. Simpson themed Giallo movie. Just think about that one for a little bit. Just think about that one for a minute.
Oh, it would just be called Bronco. I'd watch it.
Bronco? Yeah, probably. Or it'd be something real long like a brown Bronco bucks at night or some shit.
They do have like weird long ass titles often.
Yep.
Like your vice is a locked room and only I have a key. I think that's like crazy titles.
Sounds like a hardcore song.
It really does.
Kind of does, yeah.
Yeah.
Giallo's the hardcore genre of movie.
Yeah. Giallo.
We've got news about our old boy M. Night Shyamalan. I know how
Oh,
excited
Oh boy,
you
who's he
are.
disappointing this year?
I don't know this news. I'm prepared to be disappointed. Tell me.
Mhm. So Universal
He's
has
adapting all of your favorite movies.
yeah, Universal has set dates for 2 new Shyamalan thrillers.
2?
Yeah, so
No, let's hear this out. I want to know what they are.
we don't know what they are yet, but
Oh, we don't know yet?
Not
Shit.
yet. So the first one's coming out February 26, 2021, and the second is February 17th, 2023. We don't have plot synopsises or anything like that yet, but you got 2 more coming from old Shyamalan to look forward to. Justin, you're welcome.
No, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. They just announced he's making 2 more movies, which is
That's a weird
Right.
thing. Like 2023, it's like I'm not like waiting. God, oh Lord.
Oh,
If he
you're waiting.
tries to-
you're waiting.
If he tries to make like more, like what other movies could he make sequels to? What's he trying to
Oh,
like? work
God,
in?
don't even. I mean, Dr. Sleep's coming out, so I'm sure fucking he could go back to Sixth Sense if he wanted to. It's basically
The Seventh
same-
Sense.
Oh, and we'll have actual Haley Joel Osment back in it? Sure.
I
I
smell
hope Bruce
dead
Willis
people.
just loses Shyamalan's number. I hope he's like, Shyamalan, don't call me.
Just
Stop calling me, please.
it's your boy Shyamalan. Would you like to be in my movie? That's what he said.
What?
Mr. Knight, we got Haley Joel Osment in the other room.
Mr. Knight.
He's asking us not to let him in.
So the only other bit of news I have here, our boy Andy Muschietti from It fame, he's developing another adaptation from a Stephen King short. The short is called The Jaunt, which I'd never heard of before. I guess he's been attached to it since 2015. They had trouble like finding a writer that could really adapt it into a decent screenplay, but they finally found one, so they're moving forward with all that. Where's the synopsis? The synopsis, okay. So apparently this is about like time travel. Time travel is like just a real thing, but apparently you have to be sedated before you can do it. And if you're not, like your brain just fucking implodes and you go insane, I guess.
I think it says teleportation on here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know what I'm talking
I was looking up the Wikipedia. Anyway, but
Yeah.
we'll find out.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they like
Instantaneous
teleport
transportation.
in like a robot and see what happens when it teleports?
Well, I guess it works. Like it's a thing that people do regularly. So it takes place in the
Yeah.
24th century. So like in the future.
Okay.
And like they call this instantaneous transportation jaunting, and it's a thing that people do frequently. But if you're not put under, you go fucking crazy, I guess.
Yep.
And you can transport
Sounds-
yourself to other planets and other solar systems and shit like that. So it's definitely like science fiction,
Damn.
maybe like horror sci-fi, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see about that. And I'm sure the budget will be fat because Muschietti is just dollar signs.
Yeah,
Also
he is right
Stephen
now.
King. So
Yeah.
mhm.
I mean, Dream Team, apparently.
Yeah,
They're really putting that pair together.
they're making it happen. But that's all I got for the news. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have a voicemail from the man, Michael himself, the old cooter of the week, as we call him. If you yourself would like to call and leave us a voicemail, you can reach us at 904-638-3231. And let's go ahead and hear what Michael has to say for himself. Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Michael from Horror Apocalypse. From what I understand, you guys are reviewing my pick for today. Let me start first by saying I'm very, very sorry. I saw this movie many years ago. A guy I used to write reviews for on a old website that I ran. He picked it one day, and it was probably the worst movie I have ever seen in my life. And I pretended to get a phone call about halfway through the movie and got up and left. I couldn't continue writing. I couldn't continue to write a review on it since I hadn't seen it. So I was forced to go back and kind of go through it again. And Yes, it's a TROMA film, but it really feels like it was filmed on somebody's like Razor flip phone. The WWE style entrances for the zombies, just everything about it was horrible. A plot that really didn't make any sense. I couldn't understand how they're supposed to be trapped out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, and there's semi trucks going by in the background. You could see them through the trees. Just everything about this movie was bad, and I figured if I'm gonna have to be subjected to such a horrific movie, I'm not going down alone. I'm gonna take someone down with me. So you guys are the recipients of that. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it. Hopefully somebody has some good things to say about it, other than, a pretty hot Asian girl running around in a bikini. But alas, if I remember correctly, there were no Yavos, so no half-star bump there, Justin. Sorry. But anyway, guys, I can't wait to see it. Hopefully you get this message quick enough that you can put it in the show. If not, I'll talk with you guys next week. But enjoy and keep chilling.
He ringooed us. We got ringooed.
I can't believe
we got to share it with our next 3 friends, or we'll die in our sleep.
I can't believe he did the old fake phone call so that we could get out of watching this thing, and then he makes us watch it. Like, damn.
He should have just gone to return some videotapes.
I got to return some videotapes.
Like this one that we're watching right now.
Yeah. He did us dirty. Did us dirty.
You dirty dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Misery loves company. That is one thing. Bob was like texting me, and I had just started watching the movie, and they were like putting on their bikinis or whatever. I was like, "Are there any Yavos?" It's like, no,
negative.
Not even any Yavos.
I don't even fucking remember their bikini. It was that disengaged.
It wasn't.
It's not.
It literally was just making me think maybe there's some Yavos, but there weren't.
Yeah,
which I don't even know if I would have given a half star.
You're a man of principle. I expect you.
Well, it's all hypothetical because it was
a man of really fucked up principles.
Man.
You gotta stick with it.
Man's got to have a code.
Yeah.
Apparently not, Justin. Okay.
It's hypothetical, Bob. We didn't
movie's test rocking us to our core.
I know.
All my faith is broken.
We'll never be the same. We'll never bounce back from this, whatever the fuck this movie's called.
We'll never bounce back.
It broke us.
It ruined us, Michael. That was his plan all along.
I'm pretty sure I went blind, but
his competing podcast is just out to ruin us.
He's just cackling up in his castle.
His ivory tower of Blu-rays.
The horror apocalypse bunker is alive with laughter tonight.
He buys up all the spots and just makes us watch the worst movie.
That's why we limit
no one
it to
will ever
one
want to
customer.
listen to Straight Chilling again.
Oh my god. It's up to you, dear listeners, to listen for the next opportunity to save us and buy one of these spots and make us watch something worthwhile, for Christ's sake.
Like Ghost.
Yeah. Well,
cat's out of the bag on that one.
That's my fault. That's my fault. I take full responsibility.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
You very much should.
I happily take full responsibility.
Yeah.
Too happily.
You've no choice, really.
Be upset.
So we've got one more segment left in the show. There's only one thing left to do here. I want to bring back this little song. I was just gonna add, Bob, you're in my mind. I was like, Bob, are we gonna bring back your sweet song? Here we go.
Well, it's not yours.
It is not mine. Here we go.
Where did Bob go wrong? Were he and his friends sifting way too long through those Blu-ray bins? And it gets worse, he'll have no jet ski, wasting all his dough on those DVDs.
Yes, indeed. It is time to save a life. It's time to save my life. Yeah. Justin, take it away.
Save Bob's social life. Bob, we're talking jet skis and Blu-rays. We have.
Let's just leave it at that. No.
We're counting your Blu-ray purchases each month.
Mm-hmm.
For the month of September, which really, it's like mid-September now, but we've only counted like 1 week so far. But September, we got up to 7 last week. So second count of September. Show us your stack. YouTube exclusive. Bob's always got a
Here's the stack.
The stack is in. It's a threefer.
Yeah.
3 was The Wind, The Final
Witches.
Terror, and what was that top one?
Yeah.
The
The
Witches.
Witches.
The Witches, The Final Terror, and The Wind. Those are the 3.
Okay. The Wind. That makes me think of The Happening, where it's just the wind blowing.
That's a more apt title for that movie.
Yeah.
But the Wahlberg. So
All horror
I want to
movies,
know.
Bob?
Yep.
I want to
Another
know
Witch.
about that Wind movie, baby. You got to tell me about that.
Yeah, I watched
Okay.
this. So this is an IFC Midnight joint, which they have teamed up with Scream Factory. Scream Factory releases, I don't know if they release all their movies on Blu-ray, but a vast majority of them for sure. And I heard a lot of good things about it. People were comparing it to The Witch a little bit. But it's about like this frontier couple, and they have kind of like a little farm in the middle of nowhere. And they get these neighbors. These 2 people just kind of show up, and they build a little house about a mile away from them, and they start to like, the couple start to get to know each other, and then these like weird things start happening on the prairie, and there's like whispers of maybe there's a demon on the prairie, and weird stuff's going on, and they do flashbacks, like they jump back and forth so many times in the movie, and like it becomes disorienting, and you're almost like trying to figure out, at least I was, like the exact order of events and how these things fucking happened. And I was like confused by the end of it. I was like, so this dude left, and like, when did he come back, and when was this lady pregnant, and like, what the fuck? It's just it's an interesting premise that they did not fully cash in on, unfortunately. There's not a whole lot of like cool creature stuff. There's only like 1 or 2 scenes. I really like the idea of it, but it's just a little fast and loose, and I don't really think they were able to pull it off there. I don't know. There's like a lot of hype about it. I think it's maybe a little overhyped. Maybe I expected too much from it, but it's okay. It's all right.
Dude, living on the
You got that
prairie.
Witches,
that would
too.
have been tough, man.
Yeah.
That's a tough life.
That's some bullshit.
That's that bullshit, son. I
That
haven't watched
prairie bullshit.
I haven't watched The Witches yet. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I mean, I know it scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, though.
That's a scary kids movie.
Yeah. It messed me up, man. I'm excited to revisit it. It's been probably a couple decades since I've seen it. Seriously.
Really?
I watched that movie so many goddamn times as a kid.
I watched it last year for our 31 Days of Halloween, and I didn't really grow up with it, though. I didn't find it terrifying, but the special effects are cool. Like, it's
Jim Henson.
the Henson on the makeup.
You can tell, man.
Yeah, it looks good. It
Angelica
looks good.
Houston, what are you
It's
gonna-
not, like, scary. It is dark, though, because they're like, we're going to kill all the kids. It's like, well,
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, I did watch The Final Terror, which is a slasher movie from the 80s that I'd never seen before, and it's I enjoyed it, man. It's like pretty bleak. It's kind of gruesome. There's some pretty brutal stuff in it, and it's just delivered in a very matter-of-fact way. There's not a whole lot of bells and whistles. It's just like, you got these people, and there's some fucked up shit going on in the middle of the woods. They're just trying to like camp, and there's a crazy person that some sort of like survivalist almost. And this dude just like totally blends into the woods. Like, he'll just be in the scene, and you will just not be able to tell he's there. And then he just like stands
like in
up.
real life?
Like in the movie, not in real life.
He's in your living room right now.
I didn't know if they use some kind of like camouflage or like special effects or whatever.
No, he'll just be like, he'll have like moss and leaves and just twigs. Like, he'll just be like wearing the forest, and he'll be like laying on the ground, and he'll just like, you won't see him, and then he'll just like stand up. And it's cool.
So, like sometimes they shoot those YouTube videos and they're like, you don't see the person. And then they rewind and they're like, here he is. And you're like, oh shit, how did I not see the person? Is it kind of like that? Like, did they use effects like that where you're like, oh shit, I didn't see him?
There's no effects. He's just like a survivalist trying to camouflage himself, and he does it very successfully, basically.
Okay, so it's just camo.
Yeah, but it's not like he didn't go to Walmart and buy, coveralls,
I feel like we're kind of not
getting in the weeds here a little bit.
This feels not so important.
Yeah. So it's like
Important to
YouTube,
me.
right? But for the 80s.
So anyway, back to giving you some shit.
Okay.
3 movies, Bob.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Bob,
many is
you
that
have
so far this month?
it's 10, so Bob has officially hit double digits easily every month. He always usually hits it like
We are on.
mid-month.
This is the 16th. Just a reminder.
Yep.
Yeah, Bob
Got
has
about
hit
14
double
days
digits,
of the
19, 15, and 14 in previous months, Bob. You're already at 10 on the 16th. You still got half a month to go. And it's it's spooky season. I know you said you pre-ordered a lot of things.
Yeah, that's something I was going to do real quick, actually. I'm gonna do this at least for September and October because there's a lot of cool stuff coming out, and I just kind of want to let people know if you don't
Bob
know.
doesn't want to be alone.
Right, I'm gonna help you spend your money so that you can
Bob
afford.
wants you
I'm going to
to-
help you
Sharing his misery.
money.
So
Maybe together we can commiserate about neither of us owning a jet ski.
that is exactly right. Not everybody lives on the coast, Randy. So not everybody gives a shit about jet skis. I actually do not give a shit about jet skis.
Rob.
So if you're looking
Okay, Rob.
to blow some dough on some physical media this month, The Dead Don't Die just came out last week, which is that Jim Jarmusch zombie movie with Bill Murray and Adam Driver and everybody else in it. So you can pick that up. Tomorrow, the 17th, Arrow Video is putting out a Blu-ray copy of The Prey and The Hills Have Eyes 2, the original Hills Have Eyes 2. Epic Pictures is putting out that Candy Corn movie tomorrow as well. You can get that. Next week, Vampires from John Carpenter is being released by Scream Factory. The Stand, which is like that Stephen King miniseries that's coming out on Blu-ray. I've never seen that before. And the Child's Play remake is coming out on Blu-ray on the 24th as well. And the Vinegar Syndrome releases for the month. I don't know exactly when they're coming out. Probably in about a week, if I had to guess. They'll start shipping them. But their 4 for this month are Pledge Night, The Vineyard, Beyond Evil, and Secta Siniestra, which none of those I have seen.
Oh.
So there
All
you
right.
go. Blow some money.
Bob, it's going to be a hot month, huh? We're going to hit 30, right, Bob?
Definitely
Isn't that
not
what
30.
you said?
I
You're
never
gonna
said
hit
that.
30?
I never said that. You said that.
You haven't hit 20 yet, so I'm hoping we can get into the 20s finally.
Is that what you're hoping?
For your sake, Bob. I know.
You can wish in
Loves
one
food.
hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up quicker.
So I was looking at like general prices of jet skis. You can get a brand new jet ski for around like $4,000 to $5,000. So we're gonna see if Bob can accumulate that much worth of Blu-rays by the end of this year. But I'll have to average it because we only started counting in June. So we'll have to average out the months. We'll have to average out.
I genuinely don't want you to do that. So
So I feel
Consider
pretty.
that.
We have a job to do here, Rob. We have a duty to our listeners to provide them with true and honest statistics about your DVD purchases.
yeah, this is like
It's really
getting
for you. It's really for you, Bob. It's the
getting a little too
intervention.
personal when you start talking about
Yeah.
my finances and whatnot. Not a big
Bob,
fan
that's
of
been
that.
the whole segment the whole time. The jet ski. Can you
No.
afford a jet ski?
Baby, we have a fucking bump for this segment. We're doing it.
That's
We're
when the-
There's a
The gag
It's a
gets a
song and
little
everything.
too close then. I don't like that. It's a little-
Well,
we'll have to see by the end of the year, Bob. You got a few months to wean yourself off.
you know that's not
You've
going to
got a few
happen.
months to prove us wrong, Bob. You can do it.
I don't have to
Yeah.
prove anything. That's enough of this. That's the end of this segment. We're going to be back next week with a brand new episode. As always, we're going to be talking about a new movie that just hit Shudder. So if you want to check it out, it's on Shudder. It's called Tigers Are Not Afraid. Slam your eyeballs into that.
Is that the movie you watched, Randy? You're talking
yes,
about
it
today?
was.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, you already watched it? Spoiler.
Whoa. I already
I've
watched
watched
it too,
it.
but I didn't want to say anything.
Oh, god damn it.
Well, yeah, it's if you're
I know Shudder's listening. You guys need to
Definitely
get over to South
alongside
Korea.
Right.
it's definitely riding alongside Del Toro's work. Like it's
Yeah.
got
Okay.
some very very serious similarities between his work and this one.
Definitely. Yep. So check that out. Be ready for our show next week. Until then, you can rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at STR8_chilling. We're on Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. If you want to join our Slack channel, just hit us up on any one of our social media outlets and let me know. I'll send you a link so you can join. We talk about the movie of the week. We talk about TV. We talk about music, video games, all kinds of stuff. Join our Twitch game sesh on a Tuesday. And that's about it. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
I hate bugs.